Oh, we're live.
Looking at the computer.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ginger, and this is my friend Tammy, and she's joining me tonight to paint our design. Tammy, would you mind bringing that over here? So we're going to paint that together. Tammy is making her very first dot as we go through this process. And if you're joining us live, if you'd like to share where you're from in the live chat, that would be awesome. And we will take a look at the live chat as we go through things. And Tammy and I will probably chat, and whatever happens, happens. And hopefully have a great time with people from around the world joining in to paint a mandala this evening. So I'm going to move the camera so it's down here close to us so that people can see what I'm doing. So I've done more dots than Tammy.
A lot more.
But I wanted someone to be here and share with all of you what it would be like as a first-time dotter. And so you can see, you know, where the starting place might be, and it will also likely bring up some questions from Tammy, and therefore you can kind of learn through her experiences. So that was the intention for this evening. So what you need, if you don't already have it out, is you need something at least 5 inches across to paint on. So I have something that is pretty much the size of our finished thing. And Tammy has what we would call in the teacher world an adaptation. So this is a larger canvas or cardstock for her, and she won't likely need all of this space, but why I did this is because I'm not knowing Tammy yet in her dots yet. I don't know if she's going to make dots that are fairly large, close together, far apart. So that type of thing, it could mean that she needs a little more space. And also with adults especially, I found if I give them something that's this size and it needs to be fitting on there, they stress out and they worry about their dots, and they make them on the small side because they're stressing as they build it about if they're going to fit it on, which hinders their ability to make the nicest dots and just kind of relax and have a good time. So,
thank you. So
Tammy has that. We also have a little tiny practice sheet because I'm going to teach Tammy how to make dots with the tools. And we're using one of our sets that we have on travellingkindnessrocks.ca for this pattern. And the pattern is available too on the website as well if anybody wants the step-by-step written instructions. So I'm going to move the camera down and we're going to teach Tammy how to make some dots. So Tammy, have you organized your tools there?
I think I have my tools lined up. I have to say the only dots I've ever made is with a bingo dauber.
With a bingo dauber?
And it's been like this.
Bingo.
So,
well, you can't win $100.
No, there's no bingo here
There's
tonight,
no bingo.
So, okay, I have them lined up.
You have them lined up. All right, so I'm just going to move the camera, and Tammy's going to help me.
And I have to thank you, Ginger, because you are a brave lady to take me on.
Oh my.
To learn to do this. So if I can dot, anyone can.
We'll move those and they'll try. There we
go. Right.
Okay, so how are we doing there, Tammy? Is that
just back a little bit. There we go.
Can we see our...
Yeah, maybe I can slide mine over just a little bit more.
Yeah, we can slide around.
There we go.
All right, so we're going to work, Tammy, on our little pieces of paper.
So
we're going to just do a couple little practices. So we have paper towel for wiping our tools. And would you like to learn the funnest thing first, or leave the best to last?
Let's build up to it.
Let's build up to it. Okay, let's start you off gentle. Find your skinniest little tool.
And that's
so I call this tool 6. So if I was working with kids, this is one of the things I work with them on. And the first thing is I teach them, you can work with either side of your tool. And if I was going to the swimming pool and I wanted to put myself in the pool, but it was a cold day, I'd probably just touch my tippy toe in. Okay. I wouldn't do a full dunk. And that's what you want. You want to just get the surface touching your tool. Now I'm holding mine up. You don't have to hold your tray up. So I'm holding on to my tape.
Just a little dip.
Just a little dip. You're just touching the surface. And then what I want you to do is just gently press it down, and it should make a dot slightly bigger than your tool. Hi, everybody. We've got someone, Tammy, from Oregon, Alabama. I'm just looking to see. Gail from CT, I think that's Connecticut.
Okay,
USA.
yes, Connecticut is.
I'm learning all of my abbreviations for all of the states. I think I almost know all of them. Okay, so Tammy, if you're going to do another dot, I want you just to go back in and re-dip. So why don't you do like 1 or 2 more? And what I want you to get used to is just redipping. So the biggest thing when people do this with kids is getting them to redip.
Okay.
Okay.
So my dots are bigger than yours.
That's okay. You're just
and
probably
I
pushing.
got a big dollop on too.
That's all right. That's what you should have. A little. Yeah. So let's wipe that tool off. You're a master already at that. That's what those should look like. Everybody, she's doing an awesome job, isn't she? Look. Yeah. There you go. They can see this is mine and it's yours. Beautiful. Okay, so that's it. Okay. So let's go right to the biggest fella. Okay. So that's the hardest one actually.
Okay. Oh.
So
I would have thought that was easier.
No, it's the hardest. So you have to, when you work with this one, if you were to push it down, put it on your hand. If you're pushing, you can kind of feel pressure. Now I want you just to rest it so you feel there's no pressure.
Okay.
That's the type. That's what you want when you're going here. There's no pressure at all.
Pushing because
yeah. So I'm going to again just get one end of it so it dips in. The other thing, adults freak out on me when I teach them at how much paint is there.
And it's dripping.
Yeah, that's what you're going to be doing it faster than what I'm doing. And then you're going to hold your paper down because it will want to stick together if you're working on a light surface like paper. And remember that pressure that we just tested out. Just gently let the paint go out to the size of the end of the tool and lift up. Oh, Tammy, that's perfect. Oh, and it will have, people also ask, well, why is there so much paint there? Yeah. That's how the tool works. Okay. If you're working on a rock, you can lift up that extra paint, but I just leave it. If you want to do one more because you're so excited, go for it. But I'm going to wipe mine off.
Was that the fun one?
No, that's not the fun one yet. No, that's not the fun part yet.
I'm going to do this one down here. So just gently.
Gently, yeah. And you're doing a great job of going straight up and down too.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so why do you go ooh?
Because I pulled it off to the side when I lifted it.
Yeah, so straight up and down, gentle. And again, if you're working on a light surface like this, the other
hold it.
Yeah. No, the little ones, you don't need to worry about that. They won't stick. There's not enough paint. Okay, it's a fun one.
Fun one? Okay.
Tool 7. Everybody's joining in. They're practicing their dots. Yeah, it's a Connecticut. They confirmed that I knew. Yes. I knew that Connecticut was Connecticut.
For you. And I see Sue Wilbur is from Mount Uniacke.
Yeah, she knows Sue. Oh yes, way back in the Mount Uniacke days. Hi Sue, we're saying hi from Hants County today. Okay, so Tammy,
I think she's retiring this
year. She is.
So she's gonna have lots of time to
dot. She's gonna lots of time to dot.
Okay.
I'm hoping she might even show up at some of my big events that I have planned. She might come along and help out. So Tammy, this is the funnest thing that you're gonna do this week.
Okay.
I promise you. You're gonna get a little bit of paint on that, and then
you didn't go straight down that time.
It doesn't really matter. No,
I just wonder. This one's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And then you're gonna pretend there's an imaginary line, and you're gonna press down in succession along that imaginary line.
Okay.
And you're gonna get smaller and smaller dots. So tools like this apparently have been around in the toll painting dotting craze, which that is perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You want to do it again? Because it's that.
Can I wipe it off again?
You can. If you're going for a different color, you need to wipe it off. If you're
how much dipping do I do? The whole dot?
You know what? This can do a real big range. If I do a real big dunk, so I did a big dunk there, and then you can see my dots start out a lot larger.
Okay.
Right.
The paper too, right?
Well, they're little, so it doesn't matter if you hold the paper or not, really.
Oh, so that's how you do that.
Yeah, you got it.
I got it.
Okay, that's it for practice. You're done practicing.
Okay, that was.
We're going to start now, everybody. So Tammy is going to get out her bigger piece.
Practice.
You did an awesome job. Wonderful. So we're going to now build that mandala. You want to just bring it over here and we can show everybody again what we're going to do. So I'm going to just explain to Tammy that what we're going to make is an 8-point mandala. So all the patterns I've created that are step-by-step designs so far that match these tools are 8-point mandalas. And what I mean by that is that there's a center dot. So we'll start out with that, but then things will be built in groups of 8. Everything will be done 8 times. So if you look at this section here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of those.
Okay.
If you look at your big zones here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So everything we do will be done 8 times except for that middle.
Okay.
So what we're going to need is your tool 2, which is your second biggest.
Tool 2.
And we've marked a middle spot on our paper. We're going to use white. So we always need to be using the same tool and the same color.
Okay.
Okay. So it's tool 2 and it's white. You've got one. Okay. There we go. First thing we caught. Good for us. So again, this is a bigger tool. So we're going to want to keep our hand down. We're going to go straight up and down on that X, just to kind of start the middle and just do one.
So how do you decide which tool to start with for the middle? Just how big you want it to be?
Yeah, and when I do my workshops, I have like some combinations. What you're going to see in a minute is that this tool, there's the next set of dots need to fit around it 8 times.
Right.
So there's some combinations that work and other combinations that don't. So you want tool 6 now, which is your skinniest. Okay. And I'm going to teach you how to do the first set of 8 dots. So for the benefit of everybody watching, it's going to show up, like I'm going to be telling you I'm going to start at the top, but you see up on the screen, it looks like I'm at the top, but for us, it's reversed. So I'm going to be just using that reverse language, but we will figure it out. So we're going to make the first set of 8 dots. I'm going to do 2 at a time, and I want you to do the 2 right after me. Okay. We're going to always use this lighter plum color. Okay. Okay. So the first one I do, and I'm kind of leaning over, but just to kind of keep it in the spot for everybody to see. So you're doing it at the 12.
Touching the white?
Almost touching the white. It's at the 12 o'clock spot. And then I'm going to go straight down to 6 o'clock. Now, you put that where it's comfortable in front of you to do it well. I was kind of off to the side. Okay. So you go ahead and do yours. I'll read what everybody's saying. We've got someone else from Alberta and another person from Ontario following along. That's fine. Okay. Yep.
And then I do it again. I don't have to wipe it.
No, don't have to wipe it till you're done all 8.
Okay. Oops. There.
Perfect.
It's kind of close though.
That's all right. Yep. Turn it so it looks like their ears. And then what you're going to do is do the same thing. So we're going to cut this distance in half, and we're going to do the same thing. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. To them, it looks like
a really good way with fractions. Yeah. Maybe for math. Like if you were.
Yeah, there's a lot of math involved. A lot of estimate. You're fine. Okay. So one thing I have to encourage newbies is there's a lot of things that are going to be fine. If it touches, it's no big deal. So there's going to be a lot of things a lot of development along the way. And as it builds out, little tiny things you're noticing will start to be not as significant. So you've turned it so it's like those are the corners, and then you're dividing your space in half again. 12.
And they're the same.
And 6.
Okay. Now what happens, I don't know if you can see, but one of my dots is smaller.
If it's smaller and it's just one, you can you can make something bigger in the moment. Okay. Just by going over it with the paint if you wanted to.
Oops. Oh, wow. This is my first one.
Yeah, so that's all right. Tammy's saying oops because her light plum touched her white. No biggie, Tammy. Okay. Now turn it. You figured out the process. And so what we're doing is we're actually not challenging ourselves. We're doing the same process over and over by rotating, right? We're just doing 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
When you get good at them, do you still rotate?
Yes.
Okay.
I never start. I always do that starting process that way. Okay, so that's the
you know what I forgot to do?
What?
I forgot to dip.
Dip it again, yeah.
Okay.
Always need more paint.
There. Okay, well, that's a little bit off.
That's okay. So now wipe that tool off.
Okay.
And we're going to start to build outwards. And I have to check my reference.
My very first
one. You're doing great.
Excited.
So now it will not need to be as precise. That just sets up, it's like a foundation to grow on or build on. So you're going to switch to tool 7. That's what tool we're using, and we're using white. And what we're going to do is you can kind of see there's imaginary lines here. I'll do a couple of these so you can see them. And at first I'm going to do them opposite from each other just so you can see that that's one line. But really what you can do here is you can just go, okay, I'm going to just rotate my paper around like that. That's what you can do now. So you go ahead and do that.
Get the imaginary one in there first.
Well, no, you don't have to. I just wanted you to see that there's like lines there that where these will be lined up.
These are kind of inside too, aren't they? They're sort
of. Yep. So you're going to end up with 8 of them because they're going in between those light plum dots that were already there. So this
are they big enough?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And am I dipping in between each one?
Yeah, you are. So that tool you learned when you were doing your practice, it can do the successions of dots.
Okay.
I call it the taper.
Right.
I've seen other people call it other things.
When I'm using it,
you can use it to do your set of 8 that are all equal size. We've got someone joining in from Germany, Tammy.
Wow.
Hello. How do we say hello in German?
Oh, wow.
Maybe she'll tell us. We could say bonjour. Parce que Tammy et moi parlent un peu français.
Ah, français. On peut faire ça en français peut-être un soir.
No. That's awesome, Tammy.
Wow. I'm actually, I think I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
So I can kind of like fix up a little bit of like that. That one's off a little bit.
That's all right. Well, what will happen is it's going to grow and it's going to build. And so you just want to keep lining up and trying. There's like an imaginary dot right in the center of your first middle dot.
There, look.
Perfect. Yep. So now let's switch to tool 4.
Okay.
We have
wipe this off.
Yep.
Good practice.
Yep. Tool 4, and we have a couple orange colors. We're going to work with the lighter orange. And what we're going to do is, I'll show you where they go. So you always need to know the color and the tool and where the dots are going to go.
I like how you took your
tray
and turned it.
That way I'm not, dragging it
Yeah.
around. So again, I'm just lining up with the middle.
So you line it up with the purple.
The purple ones.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's this lighter orange and we're lining it up with the purple. So some people will ask me, well, why don't you draw lines? And I used to do that for my workshops. I tried it in one workshop and I found it actually, for most people, not all people, it confused them. It made it more difficult because really what you want to do is line it up with the middle. So if your middle was off of what the lines you drew. So that's just one example but sometimes it can be helpful. So it depends. So you finding working at this, you can work at your 6 o'clock spot or your 12 o'clock spot. Most people, one or the other will work better for them. And just keep rotating your paper.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So you don't have to go top to bottom, 12 to 6
and then
o'clock.
I can see it. That probably would have, that's a bigger one, but.
Yeah, that's okay. The other thing that will happen is you might get some splatters or different things might drip on your paper as you're going. And, Guten Tag. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag is how you say German. In German, hello.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Thanks very much for telling. Oh, see, we're learning so much.
See, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it like this and do my. It's taken me a little bit longer, but you know what?
Get more paint.
Dip.
It will take you longer than it will take me.
Right.
It will.
Well, you're a pro at this.
I just practice.
So do they know how you got started?
Who are there people watching? Yeah. I don't know if everybody knows. I'm sure that people know bits and
it all started a day when I had to take the grade 6s to the middle school.
Well, I guess we better tell them that we work together. So Tammy and I have been working together for 5 straight years and teaching the oldest 2 groups in our school and working quite closely together. All right, I'm going to get them going, you going and get them going on the next step, and then we'll share the rest of that story.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so tool 6.
Okay.
And we're back to the light.
That's a little
plum.
one.
Yeah, it's the littlest one. It doesn't make the tool 7 makes the smallest dart. So we're going to work with the light plum again.
So just as you do this, I'm looking here, right?
Yep.
You're just doing one layer out. So we're doing the bottom layer of this.
Yeah, we're doing the bottom layer of dots. So 70% of the time and work is going to go into the bottom layer.
Okay.
And then I always say 70% of the magic happens in the top layer.
Oh.
So that's why we've got
70 and 70.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's an estimate, Tammy.
Okay.
It's an estimate.
All right.
So you see where these are going now?
In between those orange.
Yep. And then so there's a space between where the white is and that light plum. But they're technically, if we can line them up, they'd be in a line with each other. We've got some other people joining in. If you haven't shared with us yet where you're joining in and dotting from, go ahead and say hi on the live chat if you would be so kind, so we know where you're joining in from. Because one of the visions I have with this, Tammy, is that we're all able to paint the same mandala, and mandalas are a symbol of community. They've been around for thousands of years. and they can mean different things in different cultures. But in the case of Traveling Kindness Rocks, all the programs and things that are involved around that concept and that type of thing, that the mandala is a symbol of community. So by doing these live, that allows the people that I get the pleasure of connecting with through email and things, but they get a chance to connect with each other too on the live chat, and hopefully we'll see some pictures show up on social media afterwards from different locations. We've got someone from Cleveland joining in now.
So I'm feeling like mine isn't a circle anymore. So what could be troubleshoot? Just because I am trying to do the 10 and the 12, 10 and the 6.
I would probably stop doing that. I would just do one location.
Okay.
So as you build out, if something's gone a little off, just a little off, continue, just ignore that in the next one, and then line it up with the middle, because there's going to be a lot of deception. We can play around with the eyes.
I'm not sure if they can see, but I'm feeling like mine is a little bit off.
Like this one's a little out further.
Yes. Yeah.
I think. That will keep going though, but it's going to be fine. There's all kinds of little tiny things, and that's why I wanted you here as a newbie too, to see that that's a starting place. And if you practice, you're going to improve. So let's get back to tool 2. So we're going to cover some territory now. Pennsylvania is joining in.
Yay!
We're going to work with the darker orange now, Tammy.
Okay.
And so again, this is where you can kind of cheat a little bit. So you think about what you see happening here on your circle. If you feel that one is a little further out, you may be able to kind of sneak this dot and make it a little smaller, a little closer together.
But it's right behind the purple, right?
Yeah. So you want these in line with the little purple plum dots we just did. I call them light purple on the instructions.
Yeah.
So we're using
a lilac-ish.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we're
this was my 6 and 12, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I feel I kind of got off. So these are purple, so they go there like that.
What are you finding is a good place for you to work? Closer to your body or away from your body? Like,
you know what? It's just I like to be over top of it.
Okay, because it'll be one or the other. Okay. It really doesn't matter. I do encourage people to work from one of those positions rather than the 3 o'clock spot or the 9 o'clock spot or somewhere along the clock, just because it helps you to line up. Yep. And you might find if you do another one and just experiment with trying to do the 6 o'clock spot, that you might find you have more control over it.
Right.
And it's just whatever works for you. So we were telling people you were off one day with all of the grade 6s to the middle school, and where Traveling Kindness Rocks, and I started dotting, and that's when I started dotting. When the cat's away, the mouse gets dotting with the grade 5s. This is what happened. Ooh, the UK. Someone from the United Kingdom joined, and Ohio. Hello, everybody. Oh, it's so fantastic. I'm telling you, it is exciting. It is really, really exciting.
So this is truly the community spirit.
It is community. Yep. That's what it's all about.
So I got to take, 35 or so.
Yeah.
6th graders.
Or maybe even 40.
Yeah, it depended on the year, right?
It was the year that we had quite big crews. They'd be in grade 8 now, but that crew of kids. And they went over to the middle school.
And you were doing some sort of art.
I would do this one again. Can I show everybody that one? Okay, so Tammy's dot right here, I'm going to ask her to redo that. It may be hard to see. If I take this there. It's just a little bit seeing through. I think you might have either didn't have a full amount of paint on there, or you might have pushed a little hard. Yeah, and I see I'm distracting you, and you're.
No, so I go right over top of it again.
Yeah, go right over it again.
Okay. Whoop. Okay.
Oh, I missed Alabama up there.
So I go to the middle school. Ginger stays back at the school with the grade 5s and does art. And I come back and there's these things.
Well, we did
Australian art.
We explored all of, well, not all. What can you do in 3 or 4 hours? But Australian Aboriginal culture. because my sister has been to Australia. She lived there.
Mhm.
And while she was there, I visited there. And I've always had a wonderful, I don't know, there's just been something in my whole life I've been felt connected to Australia. When I was in grade 3, so as an 8-year-old, back in the 80s, before email, I had a pen pal. I had 2 pen pals. One that I now have on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
So I've kept connected with her. And I used to phone them in Australia, even as a young person. So I've always kind of had this thing about Australia. And even up in my bedroom, above my bed, I have a picture of the Sydney Harbour and the Opera House.
Okay, so I'm feeling better about this because I think I've kind of like, these are a little close, but any mistakes I made, I feel like I've. Yeah.
So what we're going to do now, Tammy, is those big, beautiful orange dots you just did, we're going to outline them. We're going to outline them. It might be hard to see what's happening over there in the finished ones.
The finished one again.
So we're going to
take the fun tool.
Yes, we're going, nope, not yet.
Oh, okay.
So when we're going to start by putting, I call it like the anchor dot. Sometimes I call it the middle dot, depending on what group I'm working with. So we need tool 4, and we're going to work with this bright yellow this time. I think I've got tool 4. It feels really big. Let me just see. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, I'm going to watch.
So all you need to do, you're thinking outlining. We're not there yet. All we're going to do, I call it the middle dot. Just one dot, because it needs to be symmetrical. Whatever's going to be on the left side and the right side, we need to balance it. But so in order to make it left and a right, we have to say, okay, there's left, there's the right. So this is the centering dot. So this is a foundational dot. It lines up with the middle as best as we can. Yeah. So you go ahead and start doing that.
Palette. It's a good trick to learn.
Yeah. So yes, while you were at the middle school, I did I think I shared with the grade 5s a video, and I have a didgeridoo, which actually, ironically, is not from Australia. It was purchased in Halifax, but I have a few odds and ends. And so yeah, we just looked at, I think I shared a couple videos, short videos, and we learned a little bit, and we created some dots. Now, they were not mandalas because the Aboriginal people of Australia used dots to capture the essence of the stories of their culture. It usually has animal themes, landscape themes.
Yes, they were pictures, I remember, of animals on the wall.
Yes.
So
we did that. But within a week, for some reason, some little fire was ignited under me, and I was figuring out swiftly. It went from just a picture type thing I did with the students to mandalas. And
the kids wanted them on their desks. Remember, they wanted to have the rocks on the desks.
Yeah,
they really.
So that was the same group of kids. So the Traveling Kindness Rocks started there, and I had the basket. It started with a basket on my desk that the kids were welcomed to take one from, because they just weren't getting along. Tammy, can you believe that? It's hard to believe.
I know.
In May and June that they were struggling.
Well, we're there now.
Yeah. Well, maybe you will have to bring in some of your paintings for them.
I'm definitely
dots for them.
Okay. So I've got
there, Tammy, that's looking awesome. Okay, so you're building. Now, this step, so we've done everything so far in our 8 zones. We've only put one dot in each of those zones, but now what we're going to do is use tool 6, and we're going to make a neighbor on each of those spots. So this neighbor needs to nestle in as close as it can to both the yellow and that brighter orange. So this is the lighter orange that we're using.
Okay.
And we're just nestling it in there. And I always encourage them to get in close. Some people, they're kind of float away, like they're up farther away from that bigger dot. We want them really in close to the big dot. So you just do one on each side. So this is that balancing I was telling you about. We just said, okay, here's the middle, and now we're starting to work on the left and the right. Whatever we do to one side, we need to do the other, and it will progressively get smaller and smaller dots along it. I should have looked at my example, made sure I was doing it right. I am, thankfully. Going off memory, I actually designed this. I designed this one like, I don't know, at least 2 months ago now, and it's been sitting around, and I was like, it's a good one for sunshiny springtime.
So do they just come to you? Like,
Well, different ones are, there's sometimes they just come to me what I want to do, but the program, the pattern club that I've created is focused around each of these representing a charity. So when I design those, I put the charity in front of me on an iPad, their website in front of me on an iPad, and I use their colors to inspire me, and I just kind of try to get in the mindset of that organization and think about anything that might be connected to the colors or whatever. So
do you remember the special one you did for me?
Yes, for
Constable Catherine Campbell that sits in the Truro Police Department.
Yeah.
I gave you the crest.
Yes.
And you took those colors and
made the crest.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So
in the other project I'm working on now, to let the cat out of the bag a bit for everybody, where is the video? Been on for half an hour.
Oh.
Somebody, they're trying to refresh. I hope they get it working. I guess they must be in trouble.
So this is good. It gives me some time to get caught up, and you're able to read the feeds.
Yeah, exactly. Sudbury, Ontario's joining in. Hello.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I wonder if these folks are watching or if they're dotting along with us.
Well, probably both.
Both.
Yep. They could be one or the other. I know a lot of people were getting their stuff geared up, so I posted a list of the supplies they needed and a picture of the finished product. And I had one person ask me if the instructions, step-by-step instructions, were going to be posted, and these instructions are on the website. I sell them, and that helps to send more rocks around the world. So like a design like this is $4.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome, Tammy.
Yay.
Okay, now you get to use your fun tool.
Yay. Look, it's actually sort of looking like Ginger's.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, Carol's saying she's dotting.
Yay, Carol. Straight on.
Carol's down in the States. And Sue's dotting. She said she's dotting.
Good
She
for
said she mentioned up above there that you're going to catch on right away.
Oh.
She has faith in you, Tammy.
Oh,
okay,
you,
the fun stuff.
Okay.
Double check my design. Yes, I'm right. So here's what adults will always ask me, Tammy. Do you have to have the same amount of dots? Because you're going to see, I'm going to start up close here.
Right.
And what you're aiming for, it may be the same amount on each side, but it may not. And that's
I always wondered how you did that.
I know, it's really easy.
It's a trick because it's the same tool, but a tiny.
So just like let them go around and try to fill in the space evenly. I try to get these dots close together, like close knit without them touching.
Right.
And I just use a little tiny bit of paint on my tools, just a little touch into the paint. Because like I was showing you before, there's
like a toe dip.
Yeah, just a little toe dip. This tool
I want to start with
has a big range of capabilities. If we did a big dunk, we'd start out a little too big we don't have a very, very big distance to go. Becky from Minnesota is dotting too. They're working fast to keep up.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, you're doing good, Tammy.
Thank you.
Usually I say, oh no, I gotta slow down. But I'm like, way to go, Tammy. You're doing awesome.
Keeping up with the captain.
Yeah. You're keeping up with the captain. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, look.
That's awesome, Tammy.
I'm really excited.
Here, pull it over here. They can't see what you've done.
They can't.
There's Tammy's very first outline.
And I have to say, if you're just coming on board here, this is my first attempt at dotting.
Yes, if you're just joining us, this is Tammy's first go. Their first dot was painted about a half an hour ago. So yeah.
I'm kind of embarrassed to say that because you and I were beside each other for a long time.
That's all right.
Before I got to get
But you know what? I haven't, when that whole year with Traveling Kindness Rocks developed, I wasn't teaching anybody how to do it.
No.
Right?
Right.
So, you know.
We were shipping them out all over the place.
I was shipping them out, but since then we've got things rolling here, so other people can join in, and Steve is making the tools at the rate where we're getting more helpers with the tools, which is so exciting. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's making purchases, because I took a leap of faith. So
absolutely,
to have people support it is very much
Ginger
appreciated.
is the mother of Adrian is 7.
Yeah.
I said, this is almost
like... Can you scooch yours over a hair? Like if I scooch over here. Yeah, because I can lean over there. Everybody can see yours.
You have to see me in action because I have a favorite
tool.
tool.
Suzanne's from Ontario. I think she's from Ontario is saying, great job, Tammy.
Oh, thank you. Adrian was in here this evening before we started,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, it's just like Santa's workshop in here, only it's Ginger's workshop.
Well,
Because it's got everything, like you look around
Yeah.
and it's got,
I'm starting to
Yeah.
think ahead to Christmas time and preparing for those months mentally. I
Yeah.
haven't done anything physically yet, but I'm so excited. Like the Pattern Club this month, for example, that has grown in numbers, like I think almost daily we had people joining, which is awesome. Because
Wow.
what that means is for every person who joins, there's another $1 donated to the charity.
oh, cool.
Because I reserve part of the membership fee. So like this month we're supporting Look Good Feel Better Australia.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't announced the next one, but I'll announce it here. But in June, I've got the design already made, and it will be for the Scottish Association for Mental Health. So as people enroll in the Pattern Club, they have that opportunity to share some input into what they would like to see is supported by our program. And mental health has been a theme for sure. And we have 10 countries represented in the Pattern Club. And I haven't been able yet to touch on every single country, but I'm trying my best to support something in the different countries. So Scotland is represented.
Oh, nice.
So therefore, it was a good combination to pick something in Scotland and something that a lot of people have noted. So yeah, that's
so it's not looking too bad. Like you're not
going.
symmetrical, because I'm always that person that has to hang everything on the wall. That things need to be even, but I'm giving up on that. It's just happening.
We have 33 people joining in right now, so that's awesome.
It's
Hello,
a class.
everybody. Yeah, it's a whole class. If you were here and we were in our classroom, Tammy and I, we would have a full capacity room.
That's right.
Wouldn't we?
Yes, we would.
I wonder who would need to sit next to the teacher. I don't know, because I don't know.
Teaching.
What's that?
If I wasn't teaching, I would be probably that student up at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm almost finished.
Perfect.
These ones are a little bit tight, but you know what? These two are a little closer than the other.
Now let's take tool 1, and I just want you to get a sense. This is where we're going to go. You're going to fit in there fine. So we're going. This has got a little bit bigger space.
Okay.
So you might see everybody. There's a little bit bigger space there. She might do a double dip. So what I mean is, if you put down the dot, we're going to do it with. Let me see what color we're using. Light orange. So if you've got a bigger area and what you want to do with this part is to kind of connect in there.
The little dots. Okay. So
let's see how it's just kind of nestling in there.
Yeah.
And if you've got a bigger zone and you because I just need it to be filled. I need it to kind of almost touch those orange.
So now where this one's really tight, it's okay though.
Yeah.
See, this
too
one's
tight's
gonna be
okay.
This one. So should I come out further or what?
I would just do it. Yeah, I would just do it right there, and you might need to double dot it. So you're going to literally go back and get more paint and put it over top. And what that does is, if you double dot it, you're going to make the dot just a little extra bigger.
Okay.
And that's going to be better. Having a little bit bigger dot is better, less obvious than if you leave a gap. Where there's not a gap in any of the other 8 zones. You got enough paint there. When it gets down shallow in the dish, it will not get full. You've got lots of paint.
So double dip this again, like this one.
Let me see. Yeah.
Okay.
Double dip it.
So you can demonstrate for me maybe
what I mean is, go right back in, get more paint. Just pretend there's not even a dot there.
Okay.
And go right over top of it. I'm going to let you do it but I'll talk you through it. Just go right over top of it, and the paint will ooze out an extra couple millimeters or so.
Okay. I like that.
Yes. You could even triple dot it if you want. That's going to be fine. That's fine.
So that's how to fix it. Like just dip it again and go right over
double
top.
Dipper.
Because I kind of wanted to do like a little swirl. Like I wanted to sort of swirl it.
No, I've seen people swirl it. Do not swirl. Oh. Goodness.
Whoops.
My dad, meanwhile, he's just texting me on my iPad.
Hi, Sterling.
Because I don't think he can hear us.
Oh, okay.
Because he's just texting us, Tammy.
Oh.
He's getting a boat ready. He's about to retire, so he's going to get a boat ready for his oceanfront retirement spot. Gosh.
Okay.
So he's just sending me pictures. And when I say boat, it's just a little outboard.
Oh, it's like a motorboat.
This is like a little motorboat that he would have gone mossing in years ago.
Mossing.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, girl. Tell me what that means.
Am I giving a workshop in Moncton in July? I don't think so, Suzanne. I am making plans to return to Moncton, but I don't think that it will be in July. My July is quite filled with a couple family things that I have on the go. I suspect my next trip to Moncton is going to be in the fall, September, October, or November. I'm planning a trip to Alberta. And I've started to tell Tammy I'm about to launch, everybody can keep an eye out for it next week, a new program where it celebrates Canada's 150th birthday, which people anywhere in the world will be able to do. You don't have to be Canadian to do it. But it will be something that I'll likely do a series of workshops around as well. So I'm hoping that I can coordinate something for a New Brunswick visit around that. Good. Yeah, there's a Canada 150 mandala. So I have applied to use the Canada 150 logo, which businesses are able to do. They just have to, I'm in the process where I'm just waiting back for that approval. And once I get that, and I've got a couple other pieces to the puzzle for that launch to get finished, then I'll be able to get things rolling and announce it. But I think it's going to be hopefully as early as next week. Got a busy week next week. I'm going to be in 2 schools, and I'm doing a corporate event for the government, which is exciting.
Nice.
Love it. So it's a
corporate event.
A corporate event.
So they're going to Dot.
You got it. Now, Tammy, we have not used that plum in a while, have we?
No. Now, so, I just want to point out that I think I covered up.
You did awesome.
A lot of my.
Great. Okay,
so,
tool 4. So wipe that fella off. We're going to keep on a trucking with
How are we doing for speed with the people at home?
How are we doing, folks, with our speed? If you want to give us a little comment there on the live chat, we'll know. So Tammy, this is as far out as our design needs to grow.
So up to there.
Right? So this is, again, we're going to build around this bigger dot.
And this lines up with
the middle. You've got it.
Okay. So this is the lilac.
Yeah, on the instructions, if anybody was looking at it, I called it light plum on the instructions because I just literally took plum, mixed in some white, and then I called it light plum.
Light plum.
That's it. That's all I did.
Light plum.
My voice is holding out too. If anybody thinks I sound like I got a frog in my throat, last night I had such a cold and I always get laryngitis when I have a cold. It started happening when I taught music because actually, for folks who don't know me well enough yet, I am not a trained artist. This is all just stuff I figured out.
She's a natural artist.
Well, I don't know about that, but I can
know how to pick colors.
Like I know the colors thing. I kind of I've got that figured out.
Did you learn that, or was that something that
I think it's just I've learned through this that I think I'm very visual.
Okay.
I didn't know I was so visual. I thought I was very auditory, actually.
Because of the music background.
Yeah. But so I'm a trained musician, and when I used to teach music, I would lose my voice. If I had a cold, right at the end of it, I would lose my voice. And last night, I went to bed and I could feel that end of the cold. I was like, oh no, I'm going to be mute for our YouTube extravaganza. What am I going to do? Yikes! But anyhow, it held on. It's here. I couldn't go sing, I could not go sing an opera right now, but I wouldn't have been able to before either. So it was a piano player. But
I'm really, really happy about how this is shaping.
It's awesome, Tammy.
Because I wouldn't have been able to do this on my own, like just looking at the instructions, but having been instructed. So I would say if you could take a course or do this course so that you get all the tips.
Make sure you dot each time.
Oh, yep. Whoops, yeah. So if you can make sure that you take a course to get those little corrections done, right?
Sue's given us the feedback that we're at a good speed.
Oh, perfect. Yay.
We are not getting a speeding ticket today.
Perfect.
Okay, we're going to do tool 6 again, and I believe the same color. I got to check my instructions because the last time I was doing this, I was like, oh, I skipped a step or two.
So these are like huggers again.
Yeah,
right? Like
little neighbors tucked on in there.
And dip between each one.
Yeah, a little dippy. Now, to be perfectly honest, there might be a time when you've got enough paint on there that that comes with practice and you just kind of get the feel of what's going to work. But generally speaking, like especially with kids, they will want to skip that step. The instructions I have to give to kids are totally different emphasis than I do with adults. Adults, I'm constantly talking them down off the ledge. It's okay that your dot is a little bigger there than over there. They get a little stressed, and kids will let that kind of stuff go. So I have to really encourage adults in that department. And I think that kind of we pick that up as humans, I think somewhere around teenage years. But with kids, this is one of the things they will want to dip in, like they're dunking in for their entire life, like they're dunking into a bowl full of chocolate. Let me get as much on there as possible. Or that, so you picture how big of a dot that would be when they're dunking all the way in, and then they won't re-dip.
Okay.
So they get inconsistent size dots because of that. And if they can just, work on that as kids, that would make a huge difference. And by the time they're age 8 or 9, they really are pretty good at controlling themselves if they really focus. A piece like this might be a little long for them to do, but once they know how to do it, they can just play around too and make their own design.
So we're doing it on paper.
Yep.
When you do it on a rock, do you put stuff on the rock first? Or
well, I use the same paints. These are Craft Smart paint, and I know other people who do the same types of paintings that use Americana paints. Okay. So it's just about the consistency. You want it to be exactly what this is. If it's too thick, your dot will be not perfectly dot. It will be like a goop with a little jagged edge over here and a little goopy side over there that's not perfectly round. And if it's too runny, you can still do it, but you have to have really good fine motor skills, right? And it's possible. It's just harder. And why be harder when it could be easier?
Right.
Okay. All right, you got it? Yep. So now we're going to do our taper down to here.
And that's in the white?
Yep, in the white. Okay. We just have this step and then one other little step, and then we're going to blow dry it. And like I said, this is the biggest amount of work and time is the bottom layer. So it will.
So I noticed some folks that I have as friends on Facebook are getting together for like parties.
Are they?
Yeah, that's they're dotting. They're getting together and dotting, and I always message and say, I just want you to know that Ginger, the original daughter of this, worked with me, right?
Your claim to fame? You're trying to lay claim. Okay, well now you can go join the dotting parties. Right?
Okay, yes.
You're in. You can say, hey, people.
Hey, I can do this.
I'm coming. I'm on my way over.
So this one goes just into here, or does it go all the way around?
Where you stop is great. So that's why I wanted that one to fill out as far as you did, so that you could, oh, see, now I got distracted. I'm almost lost what I was going to do. That's all right. Keep going. Yeah. So that's why this is like, it's an ending point for this step we're doing right now. You needed that to connect to those little ones. So it's like, boop, stop doing what you're doing. You've made it. Yeah, the dotting party thing is great. And I have one nonprofit group who's doing that. I went in and trained them, and they purchased a nonprofit organization membership to the Pattern Club. So they have that to do. I'm sure they'll do some fun, their own pieces and stuff too. But that way they have young people. They'll be the youngest ones too. They're grade 7 girls out in Lunenburg area. So they're just starting this month. I held off. They wanted to hold off till June for their first pattern because the one in May has been the most challenging one. I've made June's a little bit user friendly for our newbies and tamed it back a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah. And I may have, as things develop, I might elaborate on that program and let there be maybe two, like an easy and a harder version. But right now it's just going to be one. But we'll see.
A competitive and a recreational kind of thing.
Well, a beginner and and an advanced more so. A competitive. We could have dotting competitions. What would that look like? I don't know.
Speed.
Dotting Olympics.
Speed or I don't know.
Speed. Yeah, speed definitely.
Size of your dots.
The size of your dots. Consistency.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Number of colors?
I don't think it should be competitive.
No, I
but
think it should be fun.
it should just be relaxing.
How about the number of minutes that you dot?
Well, there could be a
Yeah.
Guinness World Book of Record for the amount of dots done per minute. Sure.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
How many dots do you think you've made?
Well, one could estimate because I know I have done. Well, there's been 650 traveling kindness rocks. Now, I'm not the only one painting them now. But
great. You said you had some help.
There's one more little step in here, Tammy. We're gonna
Okay.
bring in a little bit of red. So we're gonna just go right in there like that.
Red.
Yeah, so this is
Okay.
red with tool 7. Just right in there. Now,
See, mine-
this is a good modification. So let's take a look at Tammy's and mine. So don't be afraid to modify or adapt designs, instructions. So yours, Tammy, I think tool 6 is going to fit nicely.
Okay.
Because again, I'm just got my arm in mine. But yeah, I'm going to get you to modify the tool 6. So as you build out, you may need to do things like that. Like the instructions are just a guideline.
And that's because I spaced my dots a little bit more than you did, right?
Yeah. And as the bigger design, so in the interior of it, that we wouldn't have had anything like that where I would have got you to change. But as it builds out, there's more opportunities for things to be different. So I tell people these are like songs, by the way. Okay. Each of these are like a song. So if you were to sing a song and I sang a song, the same one, it would be different. Yet we'd know it's the same song. That's what these are like.
Okay.
So especially in the beginning when you are.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. So there's little differences, but when we're finished, you're going to see that was based on this.
See, I'm curious now that you've got the red on this, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put the red, like I would never, looking at colors, I would have said,
why red?
So
when I was designing this one, I was going for kind of like a succession of like a radiation outwards of degrees of oranges and reds. So I just felt it needed that little touch of red. That's the only place I believe that the red comes into play.
And it kind of looks like a sunset in a way. Like, you know how sometimes you get the colors of the sunset?
Yeah. So I had one person ask if they should water the paint down. Jill, that's really, it depends on what you're using. If you're using a Craft Smart paint, it works perfectly with our tools. It's perfect unless you've left it out. And my little trick is what I do with my tray. I have a cover for my tray and I take a paper towel that's moist and I lay it down on top and I cover the tray over top. So it seals in that moisture. And when I am, leaving it for the night and want to come back to a piece the next day, that way when I reveal it and undo it, the moisture has kept, the paints have stayed moist because that towel's there. And you'll feel the paper towel the next day is pretty much dry, depends on your air quality, where you are in your building or where you live. But that way your paints are still the consistency they should be. Okay, Tammy, now what we're going to do, and everybody's going to do at home, is we're going to get our hair dryers going.
Okay.
And you need to dry it until it is dry-ish. Dry-ish means don't touch your finger in it, but it will be dry enough for us to do more dots on top of. So I'll get mine going, you get yours going, and I will take a look at mine. When mine's done, I'll check on yours.
Low. Low? It's a light on my hair dryer.
Yeah.
You think my friend
You put
Michelle?
yours over here. They can see it. There you go.
I think my friend Michelle, she was lending me her hair dryer.
Yeah. It only take a couple seconds.
Is that all it takes?
Yeah. Those bigger dots will be.
Yeah. Will they dry eventually? Or?
Yeah. Cambridge Hill, Christine Popovich. You heard?
Yeah, Christine.
Yep, you're good.
You good?
Yep.
All right.
So we have dried it till it is dry-ish. That
And
means
it's not shiny, right?
yeah, I wouldn't put my finger in it, but it's going to be good enough for us to continue. You know, if I was, you know, had all the time in the world, I'd just leave it and let it dry.
So like time dry overnight.
Yeah,
Would be better.
well,
Okay.
or even just an hour or so would be a good enough amount of time.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now, I'm following along with the instructions. If someone had a copy of the instructions, this is layer 2. You got to let it dry. So Tammy, we're going to use tool 4,
Okay.
and we're going to just get to use now this darker color, this darker plum color.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Real
so
fun.
this is probably the most challenging part of layer 2
Okay.
is to get this bang on. And people will want it bang on, and remember, it's going to want to stick. So be gentle.
Okay.
By bang on, I mean dead center, and nothing goes funny one way or the other. So, yeah,
Right there in the middle.
yeah.
That's
So
it.
Tammy, give yours a try. You got one
Deep
shot
breath,
at it. If
shot.
you didn't like it, and you were on your own, you could
Yeah.
dry it. Go back over it with white.
Okay. So
Dry
I
it.
realized I got more paint on there than I should. So
Well,
I'm gonna
then
go
wipe
back
her
and-
off.
I was nervous. Okay. So
You
tip
can
the
do it.
top.
Yep.
Okay.
She's going for it,
Going
people.
for it.
Here she goes. Yep. Oh, that's really good. Yep.
Pretty good?
Yep, that's
All right.
awesome. Okay, tool 7.
Okay.
So that's the hardest part,
That's the hardest part?
of layer 2.
I'm feeling like it's not in the center, but that'll come. Right?
That's actually, I'm going to show everybody up close. That's really good for your first shot at the center. Like really, really good. I've seen, some way over to one side or the other. So Tammy, we're going to take tool 7.
Tool 7.
And we're going on top of this first ring.
First ring. The lilac.
Yeah.
The lilac. Okay.
And the instructions, I call this color plum.
Light plum
And dark plum.
Yeah. And so if you had a plum,
Like an eating plum?
well, no.
What do you-
How big of dots am I making on this now? I think mine are a little
Well,
bit smaller.
Yeah, if you dunk a little bit farther in,
Yeah, okay.
you can get bigger. It's all about ratio, really, when it comes to the bottom layer and the top layer. Like if I was to try to say the percentage that I'm covering there, you want to estimate I'm covering, I don't know, does that look like 60%
Yeah,
of it?
yeah.
63.5% I'm covering, Tammy.
And
Can you get exactly
0.7,
that percentile?
I'll try. And give her.
Just give her.
So with this tool, do you have to be right over top of it, or can you
No.
go on an angle?
Yeah, usually I go right down, I think. I'm gonna stop and think about that. I think I go straight up and down if I'm doing
Like
the
these.
the succession of dots.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's gonna matter on these ones.
Are those full enough, or would you say a
Yeah,
little
no,
bit
I
more?
like them like that. That's good.
Okay.
Oops, my tool's running away from me.
Okay.
Okay, so now wipe that off and we're gonna find tool 5. It hasn't had any action tonight,
No,
Tammy. It's
I
been
noticed that.
inactive.
I was thinking.
You were
Yeah,
thinking
but
of
it was
4
number
tool
5.
5. Okay, we're going to be working on top of this. Now,
Okay.
this is where someone may modify the design because see how much of that's going to cover?
Mm.
If you find that hard to control, and what I mean is this should leave a little bit
Okay.
exposed of the bottom layer.
Mhm.
So if that's hard for somebody, like if they made their first layer very on the small side,
Mhm.
that would be hard for them to control. So they
Right.
may want to switch to tool 6,
Okay.
right? So
I
you
can
go ahead
kind
and
of
do it
size mine up see.
and see what's going to
Yeah,
work
I
for
think
you.
I'll be
I think
alright.
yours are okay because your dots are good size.
Yeah.
I've never had to say to somebody, you've made your dots too big,
Oh.
ever in a
ever.
workshop. They always will be, if they need any guidance at all, it will be the opposite. They'll be making them too small.
So this one, I feel like I'm not touching down very hard at
Yeah,
all.
me either.
Like a
Because
less
I'm just really
pressure.
being gentle to keep it controlled. In watching how big that dot's growing underneath.
Hmm. Whoops. That one is really big.
We've got good math building skills.
Yeah.
Christine said from down the
awesome.
yeah. I know my math is like my multiplication table since I've been off like on my leave of absence, I really feel that we should not test me on my multiplication table.
Wow.
And I knew them.
You know, you need them in 3
so
seconds,
well.
right?
I know,
3-second
because
recall.
I was testing those kids, and I knew them just like the back of my hand when I was teaching it. That's the thing about teaching, is you learn so much yourself, right?
I think, yeah, teaching is that experience where you just keep learning.
Yeah. That's awesome, Tammy.
Thank you. I'm feeling like some of them could have been better, but you know what? I'm willing to say it's not 100%, so let's just keep.
Yeah.
I probably would have gone with the smaller tool.
Well, now you know, right?
Now I know.
Yeah. Actually, you've done really well. I can still see the bottom a little bit. So
like
a lot of changes happen in this layer. So we're going to go back here, and I'm getting a big old dot because I want to really cover up 62.5%.
Okay.
We're going to go back to that.
So if I looked it back to my dark plum or plum and wanted to put more on,
you could.
Can you go back and do that?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. I'd leave it though. I think it looks fine.
Right?
Yeah, there might be 1 or 2 that you might say, hey, that one needs a little bit more, but I wouldn't play around with it too much. And back to your thought of like your instinct to want to swirl something to make it bigger. I've seen that happen. I need to be on the lookout for it and swoop in like a hawk at my workshops because people are swirling them, and it does just go straight down, and it's that crisp edge of the tool that's allowing that to happen. So if you're swirling, you just swirl and you're making a swirl. You're not making a dot.
Like no swirl zone.
This is no swirl. The other thing that they'll do, Tammy, is if something splatters or whatever, some people they will take their they'll lick a little bit,
lick a corner,
lick this, and I'll see them smudge. I'm like, no. So I need to make a warning: no swirling,
and no dipping,
no licking and trying to
lick and dips.
It's like the mother, that's got like their child has something on their face, and they're like, let me get that. What if you what if I were to spill something on here? Oh God, if you spilled something?
Yeah, like if I made a huge mistake.
If you spilled something all over it, then you'd have to start over.
So no food and drink while you're doing this?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I have my water or whatever in here.
Got my dots there?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yay.
So where are we? We're on to this big orange here, and we're going to use tool 3, which also has not had any action. We're going to put light orange on it. Now that combination, I think you're going to find will control quite easily for you. You're not. There's some tools like that are a little bit more of a space than others.
So this is actually just the reverse of the other one.
Yep.
The other one is a light orange with the dark on it. Yeah.
And people will think, oh, that's a really good observation, actually, Tammy, because people, when they're creating their own pieces, they think, well, I just used bright orange and light orange. But if you've got one on the bottom and then in your other set of dots, you've got the other one on the bottom, it actually reads differently. It's not like an addition sentence. An addition, like 3 plus 4, 4 equals 7, and 4, whatever the opposite is, because I can't even remember now. But like that still equals 7. It's not quite the same. And also,
I like this. I like the light over the dark.
Yeah, it's cool, huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and also just the size of it too. It's going to create a different energy or effect or whatever you want to call it.
So is there any research to show that this is therapeutic?
In my research, I should be writing a dissertation or something because I've had a number of people report to me after they've learned how to do it, even while they're learning, which is huge to even be able to say while they're learning that they can see the benefits because, when you're starting out, it's kind of stressful and whatever. Right. Are our students watching tonight? Someone asked.
I don't know.
Before I finish that thought. I'm not sure. Maybe Tammy will. My students are you folks. So if you're watching, hello students, but because you're it right now. And I love sharing with that. It's so fantastic to have students everywhere. In all age groups. But Tammy may share this. I don't know if she'll share a snippet with her class.
I'm definitely showing them this.
So take it in.
Right.
But yeah, back to the therapy. It's a very meditative thing because even putting mandalas in a meditative space to look at, That's one of the things they've been used for. But the process of doing something in a circular motion and lining up with the center you can clear your mind. Just like this is the focus right now. So it allows your mind to
I'm really proud of this.
let go of other things. You're not even done yet. The magic's still occurring. So this is these dots may not be fully dry. So you can see how that kind of on the edge got a little. That's not. Well, it's my fault because I didn't dry it all the way, but that's why that's happening.
Okay.
It doesn't have a crisp edge because that is not dry. So if you want to, somebody was just sharing they find dotting relaxing.
Well, I would say I noticed in some of the coloring books.
Yeah.
They have mandalas and stuff.
Absolutely. So Tammy, start putting this bright yellow.
It's a number 2?
Yeah, number 2. And this is one combination of tools that I will often modify for people if they have small .1 sizes. So you have done a fantastic job. I really encourage people if I'm in a workshop.
So that was not a clear edge too, right?
I just leave it though. Let's see. You know what? Take your hair dryer and do another little whiz on it.
Okay.
On those ones. Tammy's going to dry hers. If it's not dry enough, especially if you're really new, because it takes, like, I can control my hand motion. Tammy's going to whiz hers, give it a little dry. Just those ones.
So how many layers are to this? Like this is our 3 layer. So there's 3?
Yeah.
Are most designs have 3?
On mine. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be. I just like it.
See, I never even really had a concept as to how you did this. Like,
I know.
I kind of thought maybe you started from the middle and just kept going and layered it over top. I had no idea that you built it.
Build it.
By layers.
Yeah. Okay. See if that's easier for you to do.
I think so. Looks like it. And I can re-dip that one.
Yeah, I'd leave it for now.
Yeah.
Leave it because we're going to dry it again.
1 or 2? That was 2.
So I was saying this is a spot where I encourage people. Tool 1, one of the issues I see in my workshops that we work through is not feeling comfortable with all that paint on the end of the tool, like I was sharing with you at the beginning. So I encourage them to leave all the paint on there. And then to get that tool 1 dot to be, it should be at least the size of the bottom of the tool.
Right, okay.
Or a little bit bigger. And
it's your biggest tool, right?
It's your biggest tool. So you've done a good job of that, which allows you to use tool 2 effectively on this layer.
Right.
If someone has taken tool 1 and been on the small side, if I wasn't there to coach them through it, or they didn't know that, or they just, they're just learning, then they may need to shrink down to using a smaller size at this step that we're putting on right now in order to still see that ring. We just want a little ring of that light orange.
I just love the color combination.
Oh, I like this yellow that we're doing right now. It's hard to see up on the screen, at least on our computer. My computer screen doesn't have the best coloring. I think people are going to see it a little bit better depending on their device than what mine has. But I think I skipped a step, by the way. I did. We got to go back in a minute. So this is one of my favorite color combinations. It helps to pop the yellow, is that light orange on the bottom.
Right.
Okay, we've got to go back here real quick.
Okay.
And put on, again, you might want to go to a tool 5 here or 6. I'm using 5. So we're going to put light orange. No, am I light orange or Can I see that? It's the finished one.
There you go.
That is light orange. Yeah. So light orange is going to go.
On the yellow?
Yeah. And we want to see a little bit of the yellow.
Okay.
So if you want to switch to tool 6, now you've got some nice big dots there. I think you're going to be okay with a 5. But try it if you want a 6.
Go around and test it, like to see. Yeah, those are big.
Yeah.
Dots.
That was good idea. Good strategy. So you problem solved that.
Hey.
So Tammy just used her clean tool to go around and see, is that going to work? That's a really effective thing to do, and I do it a lot. If I'm designing my own piece that I use, of course I'm designing my own piece, but well, when in workshops, that's a better example. When I'm in workshops and people, I'm teaching them to design their own piece, then
So there's like an open-ended one you can do, like.
Yeah, if I do a full workshop
Mhm.
with me is we do a pattern which teaches you the process of
Right.
building a mandala, and then we get out rocks.
Oh.
Yeah, and paint our own design on a rock. So the challenge with doing any pattern on a rock is I can't guarantee you if I give you a rock that it's going to fit on there. Because
Right.
these are 5 inches across approximately, and
right.
that's a heavy rock if I got to bring in 20
Right.
or 30 or 40 or however many people are in the workshop. So that's why I find that this works best on something flat, cardstock.
Right.
So some of my workshops I do on canvas with these. And if people at home want to use a rock, that's fine too. They just got to get out their measuring tape and see, because on my patterns, I have put the finished size, approximate finished size, and another little extra inch leeway is probably a good idea, like I've given you here. So you can cut that paper down to size, Tammy, when it's done and frame it.
Oh, I'll be framing this. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, how's that? Good?
That's good. Okay, so let's get tool 7, and we're going to use this brighter, darker orange.
Okay.
And we're just going to go on each of those neighbors.
Okay.
Just to make it pop.
So when you're doing like a rock, how long does it take you to do a rock?
Well, if you want to pass me that Traveling Kindness rock, I just did right there so that I have one here with us tonight. So here's the Traveling Kindness rock that's with us. If you don't know how this program works, folks that are watching this video, please feel welcome to check it out because these are free. They go out around the world to people to bring a gesture kindness. And again, this is representative of everybody who connects to Traveling Kindness rock and supports it. And it is a gesture from all of us to somebody who needs it. So this one is going to South Africa.
Nice.
23rd country, I believe.
Oh, wow.
That will have a Traveling Kindness rock in it. So it goes to a specific person. And that takes me probably about 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what tools do you use for that? Like,
I use a combination of some of these. And I also have what I use at my workshops are some styluses that I get from Martha Stewart. But you can, when I say stylus, this is another word for this. This is an embossing tool or a stylus. That, like I said, they've been around for a long time. You can get them that make different size dots, different. So these,
those are tiny dots.
tiny ones.
So
I do not have a manufacturing facility as large as Martha's. So I use her tools for now, Tammy.
Okay. So is it harder to do the tinier dots?
Yes. Okay. This is a higher skill level.
Okay.
Which is why I have only myself and one other person right now painting them. Part of my vision is, and will come to be, I'm starting to think about how can I train people to teach people to effectively, if you can't see that, folks, that's how big that is. That is about
so tiny.
2 centimeters across. So
you can't just shrink it down.
You can't. I mean, the process is the same, but it takes practice. It's all it takes practice.
Okay. So are those dots big enough, do you think?
Yes. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. Tool 5 again. And we're going back to plum. We're just going to get...
I wondered if you're going to put something in those.
Absolutely. They are just the foundation so that this plum can be its full plumness.
Because it's in the center, so this brings it out, right?
Yeah. It's like, here's the plum. I don't think I've done another piece with this color combination. I quite like it. I'll often put purple. Like, this isn't really a purple. It's more kind of it's plum.
Well, I'm so excited because all of the mistakes of my dots, what I was worried about that they weren't going to line up. Like, you know, I thought, ooh, I've got mistakes here and I'm going to have to redo that one.
The Carol down in the States, she just mentioned on the live feed about nail, like fingernail.
Oh, yeah.
Dot, like I should get
dots. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so there are dot tools for fingernails.
Oh, wow.
But I've had people that do cake decorating and clay design. And yeah, so there's all kinds of different things on the market for doing these little tiny dots.
I'm not very good with the nails, as you can.
Me either. I had them growing quite long, which is a miracle for me.
Because you play piano.
Well, yeah, when I was playing piano, I don't play a whole lot now, but I had to keep them short then, for sure, when I was big time into piano playing. That's looking awesome, Tammy.
Yay!
Now we just got to do a little neighbor dot.
Okay.
So the other thing about these paints that is a personal preference for me is these are matte finish.
Okay.
Okay.
So is there a special place that I can order those if I was going to get them, or?
The paints?
Yeah.
Well, I have on my website a complete dotting kit that just
Okay.
kind of gets people started, and some people like to do that just to get started, and it has this brand of paints. But if you wanted to get them, they're also on Amazon. This is Craftsmart, like I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
They're Michaels, the craft store Michaels. But I try to
because I have like toll paint, right? But this is
it
different.
may be a little thick.
Okay.
I don't know. You'd have to try it. And I've had people try Walmart paint and dollar store paint and report that they found that thick. Now, I haven't tried it myself. It could be watered down, possibly. You could water it and thin it out and get the right consistency. But yeah, like you're talking $1 or $1.20 Canadian for a thing of paint, usually, if you're to buy it. So it's very inexpensive to get into this hobby.
And the paint lasts a long time because you don't use a whole
Yeah, especially if you do that trick that I was saying before and save your paint. Before I learned that trick, I threw out quite a bit of paint. And I haven't figured out a way to save my paint from my workshops, but anyhow.
Recycling.
Okay, so Tammy and everybody at home, we have only 2 more dots. Or two more sets of dots. What's the right way to say that? You know how everything's built in 8? We got 2 sets of 8 to do on our top layer. So let's show everybody where we are at.
I'm excited.
So this is Tammy's first attempt, and this is my not first attempt. I don't know how many I've done. So let's get our hair dryer out.
Okay.
And Tammy, going to be putting dots on our 2 biggest zones. You see these big zones here and here. So that's all that needs to be dry.
So these on the outside?
Yep, the yellow and pink.
Yeah.
We're just looking for 9 hours, or 9:15. Good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
So as I was drawing it, I was looking at some of these black spots in here. Is that okay?
Yes.
Or would you?
So it's like the negative space, I guess they call it in the art world. So you're talking about here, right? That black space
in here.
built.
Is that too much space?
No, no. Ideally, over time, like you can see how mine is a little bit more even. Like each one looks about the same shape and size. Yeah. So over time, your negative space will get there. But yeah, that's all it is. If you were making your own design and you wanted to fill it in, or even if you used one of the patterns and you wanted to elaborate on it and add more, fill your boots, right?
So you could,
So let's do our top layer. Our last layer, we're going to use tool 7. And what we're going to do is use plum for both of our sets of dots. And these are just dry enough. So Tammy, what I mean by that is if you were to push hard, you're going to poke through. So just gently touch. And if that dot didn't turn out nice, like if it got a little weird and sloppy edge, you can tell that the paint's mixing together. It needs to be drier.
So why are we using this one and not, because it would stick, would it? Is that rather than like a different?
Just because I want the size.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I picked this size. Yeah.
I just wondered why, like if it was.
No, that's the only reason. I mean, if you wanted to do your own and make it a bigger percentage to be this plum color, you could. So I'm going to tell everybody that there's going to be another live class, and I've got the date, and I actually have set it to be on a Sunday in the morning, so that people could, because I have people on the other side of the world who are finding, well, and I knew when I started that I would make them different times, but this time has been tricky for them to obviously get to because they're sleeping. Aw, shucks. But then I know some people are watching it afterwards too. But the fun thing would be, obviously, if some people's been following Traveling Kindness Rocks, is to do it at the same time. So the next one is for everybody to set their calendar if they want to do it. It's Sunday, June 25th at 10:30 in the morning. And I don't know.
It's 1 month away.
It is 1 month away. So it's a Sunday morning. And I'm hoping to get another guest, but I may try to scrounge up a kid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because I think it would be nice to see what a kid can do. So wipe that off, Tammy.
Okay.
And we're going to use tool 6. Yeah, tool 6. So again, check that this is dry enough. And I know I can handle, unless it's really, really wet. I think it's going to be okay. I'll be really gentle.
Okay.
And if it was very dry, if it, like you left it overnight, thoroughly dry, you wouldn't have to be as gentle. Now the other thing is take your time and even just see if that's lined up, because it should be lined up with the middle. And it most likely will if you plop it right in the middle. But
yeah, no, I can see mine's kind of off this one.
But if it's right off, you're not going to put it way off to the side.
No,
you kind of can think about it and be strategic. You might inch it over a little bit, just,
eyeball it.
Yeah.
Okay. And really gentle if it's wet.
Yeah. I'm going to reach across to you while we're doing this and just share with people that some people around the world have bought this version of our tools.
Oh.
And I know that there's been people that have been like trying to find these. So these are our tools that we have finally got caught up to orders. And I'm going to soon post online how that these tools relate to the patterns.
Oh, okay.
They're not, at first, the first versions of them, there wasn't quite the same relationship. So this is our new modified version, and it almost is exact. I think people would find if I gave them a little chart and gave them some directions, because there's 9 tools in this set, whereas the set with the patterns has 7. But if you take, there's a relationship. Like this one is the same as our biggest one in tool 1, and this is the second biggest. And then if there's a couple that are not needed, if I take those out and kind of share with people how those work, they'll be able to use them with the patterns, because some folks are, for the most part, they should be able to. And to be honest, I haven't tested all of the patterns with them, but these tools that you and I are using, they work just as effectively. Now, they will over time build up some paint on them if you don't wipe off the extra paint. So you could kind of sand them down if you want to, but ideally to take care of them, you really should be wiping off as best as you can any extra paint, and that, because otherwise they grow. The end of them gets a little bit bigger. And that's what's happening as I take a set out to schools. I'm going to soon designate a set that's school set. I train the kids and ask them to wipe them off, but they're kids and they're doing the best, and they're
learning.
Yeah.
So these are just like they come with the pattern.
They come as a set of 7, and there's a couple free patterns on the website, and then all the patterns and all the programs I've developed correspond with them. But a lot of people like the bigger tools because they've seen another very well-known, I wouldn't say I'm well-known or anything, but there's a woman that makes YouTube videos, and she used the bigger set that I pulled out there, and she has a lot of followers. So that's where people have seen them, but I wanted folks to make that connection if they've watched her, that's where they came from. Folks, how are you doing with your design? If you want to make a comment out there about how you're doing, and we'll wrap up. And probably what I'll do is I'm going to move the camera back, Tammy, and we'll let everybody remember what we look like. Not just our mandalas, and then we'll hold them up. And so again, I think your last ones, if we had an ideal world, we would have let them
dry a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm feeling my circles are off a little bit.
Yeah.
But when it dries, then
you could go over it again too. How's that camera like that? Can you see us?
You can't see me. No, tip it up.
Tip it up like that.
Like the head.
That's
there.
Better.
Hi.
All right. So let's hold them up. And I don't know if anybody else has a question or anything, but
Yay.
here is Tammy and I finished designs.
Yay.
You did awesome,
Thank you.
Tammy. Good
High five.
job.
Ooh.
Lovely. So thanks
Yes.
for coming tonight, Tammy.
Oh, thank you for having
That
me.
was
I feel like I'm just getting started.
You
So
are.
I feel like
Look,
I've
it's great.
Bitten the bullet, and like I'm.
I can't wait for you to share it with the kids more. You're gonna
I'm
have to take a
excited.
picture and at school. No,
Right with me with it.
with
sharing
you with it.
Mhm.
You know.
So that's great.
Yeah.
So where I have those circles, let it dry a little bit,
Yeah.
and then maybe like touch it up in an
You
hour.
could go
or
right
two.
over it, and
Yeah.
and if we weren't
Looks
rushing
good.
you,
Yeah,
because
no,
we're
that's
live
fine.
TV,
That's
that would've-
awesome. So nice
Thanks,
to meet
everybody.
everyone. Awesome.
Thanks for coming out. We hope
Happy
to see you.
dotting.
Happy dotting. We hope to see you at the next one.